So I'm cleaning my room, but I got distracted with some old high school biology stuff, but then I got distracted by this. This is my daily planner. It's what I use to sort of wrangle my own ADHD and my sort of forgetfulness in time. I wanted to talk about it because I think it might be helpful. Now, this is something I kind of developed slowly. This is 1.5 years in the making, so I don't know if this is something that can be done instantaneously. It's definitely not a miracle cure-all, like all things with ADHD, but this has helped me, and I just want to talk about it. So, none of this was here 1.5 years ago. Initially, it was just a book like this. I happened to find this book that essentially had, everything you need. Note Pro, undated daily planner, 200 pages, beautiful. You got your index, bunch of info. I'm going to just show you that because who knows, maybe that might be helpful. But what it's got is this. On the left, the date can be written up top. Action items, a whole pre-formulated list of like bullet points. Follow-up calls, you can use that for more bullet points if you want. And then underneath the date, you have the whole timeline from 7 o'clock to 8:30. If you continue down here, I think it'll take you down to about 12. On the right side, you just have note paper that you can just write anything you want. And this is sort of the format that I started off with. I just happened to be lucky and find this particular book. It has pretty much everything you need. All the tedious stuff, essentially, is knocked out of the way. Used it. If you can get your hands on it, and you might find some of this stuff helpful at the back. It's got calendars from 1800 to 2050. It's got information about metric conversions, temperatures. That's all in like the last couple pages. You got a whole book or a whole section for like calling people. If you want to write down numbers and whatnot. It's got a little holder, and it's got some pieces of stickers that you can use to... I seem to have lost my other book, but I had another book like this that that is filled in by now. And I guess, yeah, it's just thick. It's got all the information sort of that I used all this. And this is really helpful. But eventually, of course, I ran out of space. How do I resolve that? Well, I guess first of all, I didn't actually use this too often because it's kind of a bit tedious. I ran out of space. How do you resolve that? Clearly, I photocopied a ton of them. Well, my dad did. Thanks, Dad. This is like, of course, photocopied over the course of several years, so this is a lot of paper. You might call it a waste of paper, but the way I'm using it, I would argue that I'm using the paper, so it's not too wasteful. But I started out with a smaller binder and worked my way up to this. I've literally just put this together today because I have all my past, all my present, and all the future that I can get a hold of. This is just some paper that was in the binder before. So, breaking down how I use it. At present, I started off in college using it, so I would have a lot of information about coursework and whatnot. But nowadays, because I'm out of college and I'm a NEET for the time being, this is how I kind of use it. I always write down with the date every night. Unless I take the time to go through every single page, which I did when I had like maybe this many pages, and I'd maybe go through about half, and I just write out the date, write out the time I wake up, and the morning mantra I did to sort of set my morning schedule, and then, add specific things here, and whatever sort of like by the day, if I had something that it reoccurred over time, I would write out like the time, and I'd block it out. You can do that. I've done it. I plan to do it if I ever get around to it, which, common phrase heard here and there. But that's helpful. Just kind of keeps even more tedious stuff out of the way if you can just take the time to do it the one time. But for the most part, I do it like this. Usually the Tuesday is over here, but the day in the word, the number of the day, the month, the year, keep all that information. It's helpful when you go back, if you ever do go back. If you forget something, like, oh, how the hell did I used to do something like this? Like, oh, hey, check it out. This is how I used to do it. But I have my morning mantra and the approximate time I expect to wake up. Never the exact time, because when I wake up, I'm staying in bed. That has never changed, and that probably never will change. So if my alarm is currently set to 8 a.m., this is where I'll write my morning mantra. And I just conveniently wrote when I actually got up and out of bed today, but I don't often do that. This is often left blank, except for when I have definitive things, blocked off that I need to do. My morning mantra used to be written out as all words. Wake, meds, mouth. C stands for coffee, and then shit, shower. It rolls off the tongue a bit better like that. Wake, meds, mouth, shit, shower. Wake, meds, mouth, coffee, shit, shower. I don't know. Of course, I've repeated that mantra to myself over and over for the past few years. You can see why I like to add the year, because then I can remember a bit more. It also helps if you have like your weeks for your college, add the weeks there too. But instead of writing it out, I've repeated that mantra to myself so often that I know just off by heart. WMMCSS stands for Wake, Meds, Mouth, Cascading Style Sheets, that sort of thing. On the right side, the one thing that is always consistent is meds _AM 913. This is the resolution I had for when I forgot to take my meds. I'm stupid, I shouldn't have showed that. But I'd always forget, when did I take my medication? Did I take my medication? I've had times where I took 2 pills, I took no pills. The 2 times are worse than the no times. So if you are in doubt, just don't take anything and suffer the consequences of not having medication. Just because too much medication can feel a bit bad. But yeah, so if I wake up in the morning, take my meds. That's the second thing I do. I come over here, grab my pill bottle, grab my water bottle that's not here, drink it, consume it, do all that. Look at my clock, which is over to the right clock. Boom. Write it down. I always have a pen around. And then there you go. It's meds done. And then, of course, every night beforehand, I write out all the stuff I wanted to do. If, as you can see here, I didn't do a bunch of stuff, then if I want to do it still, or like if it's still important, I write it out. Develop daily plan, fill in this book, convocation plan, camping. I forgot what I was going to write here, so I left it blank. It's all very helpful. And then on the right side, I didn't show this in the other book, it's all line paper. So you can just write everything out you need. Any extra thoughts, any extra notes to yourself, anything like that, right here, right there. It's beautiful. It works out really well. Oftentimes, if I have a short temporary list of things that I need to do, like I'm starting my morning and I gotta wash the dishes, I need to go outside, help my mom do some yard work, I need to feed the dog, which I don't do, but let's say I do. Anything like that, and I'm just my brain is scrambled with the amount of things I need to do, I just write it out, and then maybe I'll write it out again. So that it's like just the generic list of things I need to do, and then the order I want to do them in. I forget where I saw it. I think it was in the How to ADHD book. But literally, applying times and specific time slots to things is a little bit less helpful. It just kind of doesn't work. But applying an order of the list of things you need to do can help, because there's no constraints, there's no big expectations. The only idea is that, once this is done, I can move on to this, and it just organizes your brain, keeps it all in front of you on paper. It externalizes it, it makes it visual. It's really nice. Now, it's convenient. The way I'm thinking now, because what I cannot remember is how did I really get myself to start doing this. And I do think it started off with the book, but it's also just sort of giving it an entire large space for it to happen, and to happen consistently. If you cover this, if you move it around, you're not going to be able to really get things going. And if I'm very tight on space, as you may have seen, I'm slowly cleaning my room after coming home from college, but if you can find some space, some area where you can consolidate yourself every morning, because this is where I go to like do all my morning routine stuff. I have all my like creams and face butters and whatnot, my meds, morning water, the clock, this, having it out and having this space where you can sort of get all that. Plus this is my dresser, so I get dressed here. This is like my air. I ended the video there. This is the whole space where things come alive for me in the morning. If you can find a space like that, it'll help to start working on this. Going through the whole thing and pre-planning it is also extremely difficult, so limiting the amount of stuff you need to do is... Oh, did I not flip? I'm just going to flip to a random page. Essentially, if I want... Let me demonstrate by just planning out my tomorrow. So today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I usually have my phone next to me so I can just look at the date, because I forget. Wednesday, 22nd of May, 2024. I'm gonna wake up at 8, so it's wake, meds, mouth, coffee, shit, shower, meds, _ AM. And you can write it messy, you can write it neat. Just the fact that you wrote all that, see, it's done. And every night you can just go, or whenever you truly feel like it. Sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I'm like, oh, it's the afternoon, I want to plan for what I'm doing tomorrow. Like, I've just been told something that I need to do tomorrow. So, I'm gonna go here and write it down. And that way I can remember it. If I have something significant coming up in like the next few days, that can motivate you to say, okay, well, I have it, today is the 22nd, on the 25th I have to go to the zoo, for example. So if you write things in that keep it simple. You go, okay, 23rd, the next day, I'm going to do this. 24, because I just thought of this now, and I actually need to do this because I'm going to the zoo on the 25th. 25th, that leaves you some room to write down the day, Saturday, 25th of May, 2024. I don't know if I'm going to wake up at 8, but let's just say WMMCSS. Accidentally clicked on my freaking volume button again. Meds _ AM. Go to zoo. So, at the very least now, I have Saturday, the 25th of May, written out. My day is essentially, fundamentally planned. The one main thing that's going to go on is written out. As the days come by, I'll know more information about it. Like, I don't know when we're going to go, but I know we're going to go. So now it's locked in stone. And if I want to speed up the process for these next couple days, they're all sped up. I can just write, let's today's Wednesday. I need to plan out tomorrow, Thursday. Guess what? Thursday the 23rd. Alright, then I just have to write out May 2024. I don't have to be clean with it. Wait, meds, AM. Just give yourself enough room. It's simple now that I've been able to do it all. The bullet journals, in principle, are good. This is fundamentally just a pre-formatted bullet journal, at least when it comes to how I do all this. When I was initially like learning some tips about how to like do a bullet sort of point thing, you always hear about the whole fill it in when you're working on it, cross it off when you're done. I still do that. I fill it in and cross it off, but I never fill it in while I'm doing it. It's always just been really cross it out. And don't cross out the actual words, I would say. It's helpful to be able to read them still, just in case. Like, for instance, get recipe for Sicilian pasta. Maybe in the future, I'll forget that I really like cooking Sicilian pasta. So I'll go back in time and say, okay, maybe I can find something in the past that says, hey, I liked to cook this food that I forgot that I like. what was it called again? I can't remember. Boom, there it is. Sicilian pasta. And so now it's done. Organize the boxes of textbook and paper. I'm doing that, so I guess I can just fill it in now. Who knows if I'll come back and scratch it out. I think don't try to be too exacting with when you're filling this in and scratching it out. You can just go the day. The principle of it is just having the list of things that need to be done. Whether or not they're urgent, they're just there. And if they're here, you can come back to it and look at it and say, okay, this is, what else I need to do. Alternatively, you can just have it, once you've written it out and you have it externalized as a physical list that you can feel and write on and edit, you will hold it in your brain better. You'll do a little bit of a better job with your executive functioning. At least I do. And so I can go throughout most of my day with this sort of idea going on in my head of like, oh, here's the list. I can remember now. I need to vacuum the kitchen fan of dust. I need to fill in this book. And so it makes holding those thoughts in your head a little bit easier. So, yeah, this is what I do. I'm quite fond of it. It's become quite a big thing. Yeah. Those are my thoughts. If I ever have any more, I'll write them out more. But yeah, cool. Thank you very much. And ADHD, man, that stuff is wacky and wild.